we're joined by Dr. Rashina Bissett-McCain. Thank you for being here. Let's start with this Utah bill right now trying to crack down on social media and the impact on kids. I think first and foremost, as you talk to youth and their families and their caregivers, what do you hear and see about the negative impacts that they are having from social media?
Marni, is that a lot of people are aware of the positives of social media, but not the negatives. Sure, social media use is fun. It helps adolescents develop their communication skills and express ideas and make friends. But there are significant negative impacts that I think parents, most importantly, and the users of social media are not aware of. There was a study published in JAMA Psychiatry, that showed that adolescents who spend more than 3 hours a day on social media have heightened risk of mental health disorders. A professor from MIT is looking at a causal relationship between mental health issues and Facebook from its earliest inception, and found that Facebook users were 7% more likely to report depression and 20% more likely to report anxiety. Those are disturbing numbers, and I think educating parents more about those facts will have a greater impact on trying to limit teens and adolescents' use of social media or help them to use those platforms safely, as opposed to the government attempting to control its use.
Right. And doctor, I think part of it, just as a parent with teenagers, and we have this conversation in my house a lot of times, I often feel helpless because I know they want to be on it. I try to limit it. They'll find ways when they can to be on it. Is this about giving parents more tools and oversight? I want to know what you're on, and I'm your parent. You live in my house, so you have to share it with me. Does this open the door that we at least can start that conversation? And if we see something troubling, it's a red flag that we can intervene sooner before we start to see some of these issues pop up.
It definitely opens the door for conversation, and I think that is one benefit that comes out of Utah signing this law into effect, is that people are starting to talk about it more. I do think, however, that as parents, it's our role to guide our children to help them make safe decisions, but we do still have to give them leeway to become their own human being and develop their own thoughts and ideas and teach them about the liberty and the freedoms of being an American, as long as they are doing those things safely.
Autism more common among Black and Hispanic kids in the U.S., as we just reported from a new study. Any theory as to why we're seeing this shift?
This is the first time in history, Marni, that it's actually been reported that Black and Hispanic children are having autism more prevalently than white children. I don't think that Black and Hispanic kids are developing autism more. I think what we're seeing is a result of increased awareness. Increased awareness leads to increased screening, leads to increased diagnosis. As you mentioned, as recently as 2010, white children were 50% more prevalent of having autism than Hispanic kids, 30% more likely to have autism than Black children. But not just about race. This disease typically was something that was usually diagnosed from those in middle class or upper socioeconomic statuses. And again, because of increased awareness and increased screening, we are now seeing these diagnoses in more lower socioeconomic status families.
Real quickly, I have about a minute left. I wanted to talk about this final topic, this candy conundrum, you might refer to it as, in California. Toxic chemicals in some sugary treats. They're trying to pass a bill to ban them. What concerns you, medically speaking, about some of the non-essential ingredients? Are they, in fact, harmful?
Well, what I do appreciate about this debate, the European Safety Administration has banned some of these chemicals, but they have been very transparent in saying that there is no conclusive evidence that titanium dioxide, for example, which is one of the additives in Skittles, definitely causes toxic effects, specifically cancer. However, what they are saying is that they cannot rule it out. And so instead of being reactionary and instead of waiting for this overwhelming evidence that it causes cancer, they're being precautionary and trying to protect the health, wellness, and safety of their population by banning it. Does this mean that we can't have Skittles or we can't have Sour Patch Kids, which is my favorite candy? Absolutely not. We can still have the things that we love, just have the companies create it in a different formula, which they are already doing overseas.
Right. And for me, it's hot tamales at the theater. They don't even sell them there anymore. It's terrible. Dr. Rashina Bassett McCain, always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.